All right, so I read an article, and it was about turning 40, and it was a woman who wrote an article, and she had some really insightful thoughts about what it means to turn 40 and, the things that she's discovered, and a lot of it was true. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that she said was that there was no such thing as a soulmate, that people tend to think a soulmate is like somebody who, like, was born and divine, it's just created for you, and they're somewhere waiting for you, and you two are going to link up and be happy forever. And she's saying that doesn't really exist, that soulmates are earned, meaning that you meet somebody, and you guys probably do have a lot in common, and maybe you're compatible, whatever, but you work on it, and that's how you create this perfect situation. It's not like this person's perfect and you're perfect, you get together and it's firecrackers. Right. It's more like we meet each other, there's some chemistry, but we got to work on being perfect together.
Right.
So I posted this on Facebook, and a lot of people agreed or just liked it or whatever, passively agreed with me, and then there were a couple people like, nah, it's not, and hey, start posting these other descriptions of soulmates and all this other crap. I didn't want it to turn into a big debate. I was just posting something I read that I agreed with. So I kind of ignored those naysayers.
Well, people that are naysayers, because they feel like people like that is kind of, they would need something to believe in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they feel like nostalgia. Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things where I didn't grow to love it. I knew them automatically. But those all are euphoria feelings that you feel in the very beginning, and those may or may not be true.
Yeah, I just felt like it was like, and maybe it's true for you and maybe it's not. And that's why I just took the answer. I sat back. I said, well, to each his own. Right. I'm not going to argue with you about it, because it's not that any of us can prove there's such a thing as a soulmate.
Right.
And maybe you think you found yours, and maybe I don't think it exists. That doesn't mean that I can't be happy with somebody. But anywho.
Right.
So that's how it came out. So then I go and I get another article, and it says, what's the title of this? 18 Signs That You Found Your Soulmate. So I'm reading through it, and I love things that are numbered, because it just makes life so much easier. And because I could just go through, good, not, and I just go on. But in reading this, I'm starting to feel like maybe I need to recant what my agreeing
about soulmates.
Yeah, the fact that I was agreeing with what she said, and I'm just going to read a couple to you that I thought were really good. You found your soulmate. Number one, you just know it. Something deep inside of you tells you this is the perfect one for you. It's as if a spiritual force pushing you to let go of everything you previously expected and give of yourself completely. Mm-hmm. And what I like about that, it says it's forcing you to let go of everything you previously expected. I think that's the key sentence there.
Right.
Because it doesn't mean that they're perfect. Like you have a checklist and he or she has all these criteria. But when you meet this person, maybe some of those things that they don't have, that was part of your criteria, they don't have it, but it doesn't matter.
Right.
So it's like, you may not be tall, but doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying?
Or everything else about you, yeah.
Yeah, like the things I thought I needed so much,
I don't need.
It doesn't matter because it feels right.
Right.
So then I was like, okay, this one was interesting. Number 2, you've crossed paths before. It says soulmates have met each other at a previous time. You may not have connected, but you were in the same place at the same time. And she's saying, before my husband and I met, we lived across the street from each other and worked across the street from each other, yet we never met until the time was right.
So they may have seen each other in passing, but didn't formally meet. Yeah. It's not somebody you know and you kind of disregard them.
It could mean either or.
Oh, okay.
She's just saying you were in the same place at the same time, but you never really met. So maybe you, especially like in New York, like,
you can, yeah.
Maybe we worked around the corner from each other, or we were in the same Starbucks every morning, but we never met.
Right.
And then, it's weird. Like when we went to dinner the other night, and when I met your friend.
Yeah.
And she come to find out 7 years she's right around
in your
the corner
neighborhood.
from me.
Yeah, right.
We go to the same supermarket. We live in the same neighborhood, yet I've never seen her. And then we go to dinner one night, and that's how I meet you.
Transfer to a man, if that were a man.
And that shit happens like that. So it's like, and that kind of leads into the third one. It says your souls meet at the right time. Each person has to be ready to receive the soul connection. She said, even though my husband and I were in close proximity to each other for many years, we did not meet until the time was right for both of us. You have to be prepared to meet your soulmate. It could be that you have to go through a relationship that doesn't work out, or that you're not ready to ditch your perfect person checklist. But when it comes to soulmates, timing is everything.
Yeah, I believe timing is everything is everything.
Yeah. So maybe that's part of it, where you are in the same circle, in the same area, but you didn't meet because you weren't ready for each other. You have other things,
yeah. And then I guess that doesn't open you up to even spot them.
Yeah.
Because if you're not...
distracted.
Yeah, you're distracted with your own thoughts or your own things, so you can seemingly, like you said, see someone all the time, or pass them, like you said, in your neighborhood, and just never... You got other things going on.
Yeah.
Right. Until you let go of those things, then you can probably... And you said you might meet somebody in a cafe down, and you're like, oh, I live right down on there.
Yeah. Never saw you before. Maybe we were we could have been standing in line next to each other, but maybe your head was someplace else and my head was someplace else, and I didn't even see you.
Right.
But you could be that person for me. And then I'm skipping ahead, but it says you share the same life goals. And I think this is very important for marriages, whatever. It said, and this is why I think a lot of marriages don't work, because people don't share goals but think it's okay.
Because they like that opposite attracts thing.
Or they just, it's good enough, or it'll work itself out. Right. You know, if it says you're both on the same page with values, ethics, and goals. You may have a different way of reaching those goals, but you both want the same end result.
Right.
Which is big. And that's why, like, I'm not religious, but I know they always say you have to be with somebody who you're equally yoked. And you can't be, like, I think it was a comedian said, like, a crackhead
Chris Rock.
And a preacher, a real preacher.
Yeah, you can't be, where you going? I'm going to go hit the pipe. And I'm going to church.
Yeah, like, that shit can't work forever.
No.
You know, but people try it.
Yeah.
And think,
And that's an extreme case, but on the smaller end, in terms of profession sometimes, or beliefs, they think, oh, well, he's Jewish and I know a little bit about Judaism and I'm okay with that and we'll just melt it. It's a very hard thing, and then if you're, and there's certain things that you don't really think that you're steadfast about until you really get into it, and you're like, oh no,
like, oh, I can't have a Christmas tree, like, or something, or what about when you have kids?
I was gonna say, kids also bring that to the forefront as well, because you may think it's seemingly he can go off and believe what he wants to believe, or he may be a Jewish person and not go to church, in a synagogue, and you may not be going to you may be a Christian and not be going be Catholic and not going to Catholic church. And then once you get a kid, you're like, well, where are they going to go? And then you're emphatic about, well, I need them to grow up Catholic, and him,
And now
that's
have
when,
a rift. Mm-hmm. But that goes, and that kind of ties into number 9, says you're not afraid of having a conversation. Conversations can be challenging. Expressing concerns or attempting to make decisions is uncomfortable. Soulmates know that if they join together, they will be able to work it out.
Right.
And, I think conversations is a big piece, because people sweep so many things under the rug.
It seems like this article is a very practical one.
Yeah.
But it seems like people say the soulmate sounds so nostalgic.
It does.
Like it's some sort of faraway thing.
Yeah.
But the thing that's going to gravitate you are grounded things, it sounds like.
Yeah.
But I think the word itself, soulmates, infers a different kind of thing about it. It seems more magical.
It sound like celestial.
Right.
Like
yeah.
It's
more magical.
Yeah.
Everything just kind of, but it does kind of, those things you're thinking about. Mm-hmm. And those are practical things. They're not romantic things.
Yeah. But it's the things that make a relationship work.
Right.
And even things like this, like, you know how to apologize. It's not easy to say I'm sorry or admit that you did something wrong to hurt the person you love. Soulmates realize that their actions or words caused harm, even if they feel justified in their point of view. If their partner was hurt by it, they can easily apologize for the harm they have caused.
Yeah.
And that's hard. I think sometimes people feel like apologizing admits that you're wrong.
Yeah.
But you don't have to be wrong to apologize.
Yeah.
You could just be like, I'm sorry I hurt your feelings.
Right.
Or,
I'm sorry how I said that.
Yeah, I still feel the way I feel.
Right.
But this is what you shouldn't do. I'm sorry if you feel like, I'm sorry if you took it that way. Or I'm sorry.
But that's not really an apology.
That's not an apology.
Yeah.
And people love
it's kind
to
of
say
like
that.
too bad, really.
Yeah.
It's really that.
It's like putting it on you. Like, you chose to be upset about that. You chose to have your feelings hurt.
And it's really saying too bad.
Yeah.
You're using sorry, but sorry is not the right word in that sentence.
Yeah.
It's too bad you feel that way.
Yeah.
It's just too bad.
Yeah. Sorry if you took it that way.
But sorry sounds a little bit more, but it's still condescending, because when you say it like that, people still think they know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
So if you're going to say sorry, you have to say I'm sorry.
Or don't say it.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to apologize,
I'm sorry I said it that way.
I said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I said it. I'm sorry, and I'm sorry it hurt your feelings.
Right. And being sorry that you said something doesn't, like you said, alleviate the fact that you feel a certain way, or you are convicted. You're standing by your conviction. You're saying, I'm sorry that I said it, because now it's upset you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think so many people are afraid to feel like, they think apologizing is a sign of weakness. Mm-hmm. That it's admitting that they're somehow wrong, or like they're wrong about everything.
I have a quote. Go ahead.
It's just we are wrong. Like, and I mean, we make mistakes.
Yeah.
And it's okay, and nobody really wants to but again, it's not about winning, and I think that's the problem too. People want to win arguments. They want to win, and they'd rather win at the price of their relationship.
And that's why a lot of people.
Somebody says, "Do you want to win, or do you want to be alone?"
Right. A couple say you gotta sometimes. you have to lose the battle and win the war or something like that, or something like that.
Pick and choose your battles.
Yeah, and that's also by saying sorry. There's a quote: "The weak can never forgive." Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. So you do. It's one of those things where, because you're always holding on to something. Yeah. The strength is in like knowing that, okay, this hurt me and that you did this, but you can move from that. Because you also relieve yourself of it as well.
Yeah, you do. Because if you hold on, like people say, another one of those quotes, something about, resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die or something to that effect. And like I had written something on Facebook about letting shit go. Right. Sometimes you just gotta let it go. Even if you don't feel good about it, but when you hold on to it, you're the one holding on to it. It becomes your baggage. And that person who pissed you off, hurt your feelings, they moving on about their day. Right. They're fine. And here you are holding on to this. Right. And it's like, what I said there, if either you let go or you get dragged. Right. Because that person's gonna keep moving. So if you keep holding on to this, then you're just gonna be dragging behind them. Right. As opposed to just letting shit go. It doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're a punk. And that's what I used to do all the time. I used to feel like if I allow somebody to the way I looked at it, get over on me, I'm being a punk. Like if I be the bigger person, I'm being a punk.
Yeah, I felt that way too. I was
big on that. Like I'm letting them, if I forgive somebody for hurting me, or I just don't check them or don't call them on their shit, then now I'm a pussy. And
they can come back and do the same thing to me again. Yeah. So I need to let them know that it stops here.
Yeah.
And
there's a way to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's not about just, it's not about holding on to the thing and then again, maybe sometimes it's just meaning we're just not going to be cool. We're not going to hang out no more. You can't hurt me if you're not in my life.
Yeah. The best way I think I'm realizing to deal with that now is to remove myself from the situation. Yeah. Instead of because I feel like people are going to do what they want to do and they're going to argue. Oh, yeah. They're going to argue in their defense of why they felt they did that. Yeah. And they did, and they will say the, oh, I'm sorry thing. I have a friend where I don't, she always takes me in situations that always benefits her, and it's always some sort of situation that I'm not really comfortable in, or it's cost me or something. Yeah. And I used to always go, no, come to my side of the town. And I always try to dictate, and it was always a battle. Yeah. And I always was fine, because it was so exhausting. And then now I just don't go. I just go, I got plans. Oh, you know what I mean? And I'll throw out and I know well enough that I'll throw out my details, and then she's not going to pick all of them. Yeah. And usually I'll just, the one that she picks, that day, you know what I mean? I kind of fudge it, and it just, I just don't, or I just go, I'm not available to do that. Yeah. I can't do that.
It's so much
because
easier.
I'm not going to, And until you figure out, or I go, we can come up, can we meet in the middle? The last time I tried to accommodate, I said, can we meet in the middle? And she never, came through, which is because she had to also make the effort to do.
She didn't want to.
So
and it's telltale. And they could be
instead
good
of
people.
checking her now, going, you know what I mean? Now it's
it's not worth it.
No.
Some people just, it's not, because you know what you realize? You have to realize that people are not going to change. Very few people change. I'm not going to say nobody changes, but most people are who they are, especially at our age. They are who they are. They're going to be who they're going to be, and it works for them on some level. So they're going to keep doing that. And if that doesn't work for you, then we just can't rock. And it's just that simple, and it's okay. Yeah. I go my way, you go your way. I don't hate you. You don't hate me. If I see you, we cool. If we end up in the same place, whatever. But I'm not going to make these concessions just to be a part of your life. Yeah. And it's just, and it has to be okay. Yeah. And they may feel some kind of way about you because you're not doing what you used to do. They're used to you conceding and you meeting her, coming her way and working around her schedule. But eventually she'll get the memo. If she doesn't, oh wow.
Yeah. And just the same thing, people feel bad because the person's been in their life for a very long time. Sometimes they're in your life and they upheaval it all the time. And you don't even realize it. And
you walk away drained, and then you feel stupid. You're like, how did I fall into this shit?
And that's how every time I walked away from her, I was drained in some sort of way, either emotionally or financially. And I just was like, this is ridiculous. I hated the way I felt.
You feel bad
after
about
that.
yourself.
Yeah, she's a very master manipulative. So she, and then and just not to argue or not to be that thing, you just kind of all right, what, where? Yeah. And the minute I went to her side of town, it was she was dragging me everywhere, and it's I thought we were doing this, but now we're doing exactly. So I just and sometimes you feel you feel like you're being the one that's shady, but It is what it is. There's some people that's in your life for a certain amount of time. You said the meeting season, whatever they call it.
And people who care about you will get the memo and they'll make efforts. Because I've had situations with people where I felt like it was the same shit over and over again. You know, I won't go into specifics, but every time I hung out with them, they did some shit that I didn't like. And it was just like, it made me not want to hang out with them because I'm like, now I can already tell what's going to happen when we hang out. It's going to be this, you know, you're going to hit me with some, you're going to tell me your whole fucking life story, but as soon as I start talking, you got to run. You know, shit like that. And I'm like, there's a trend here. And I don't see this trend. I'm the dummy. So what I started to do was I started pulling back. And because she is somebody who does care about me, she picked up on it. And she started to make a change. And I was just like, you know, that was simple. I didn't even have to have a conversation with her. It was just through my actions. But only because she cared enough to see those. She didn't see what she was doing before, obviously. And it wasn't like I said, I wasn't mad. It was just like, I can't do this all the time. Maybe I can do you once a season. I can't do this once a month because it's just too much. She picked up on it and now our relationship is better because she saw it and she cared enough to make that change. Some people won't care enough. And those are the ones who, it just sounds so cliche, but they're not worth it. You know? It's just, you got to just keep it moving. And that's something that I picked up in the last couple of years, and I'm so happy that it makes your life so much simpler. You're so much simpler. You just realize, and you also got to see people for who they are. Stop trying to see them as who you want them to be and how you wish they were, because they're going to be who they are, and you just got to like, listen, either accept you or I don't rock with you. Or I can accept you in small spurts. I'm all about the spurts. I can't do you a couple days in a row. A couple days here, a couple days there, because otherwise...
it's just not well for your well-being.
Something bad.
Literally, it's not.
And you're going to make me just not want to be around you, period. And, you know, and that's what makes it so easy with text messages, because somebody will send me a text message and it'll be some shit that I'm like, this is what you're good for. But I just don't respond. For a couple of hours until I'm over it, and then I'll respond and like, oh, okay, now, you know, whatever. And just, it just makes it so much easier as opposed to somebody calling you and I got to listen to this shit. And I'm rolling my eyes on the phone like, here she go again, talking about her man or whatever. Or her kids or whatever. But,
the soulmate thing, I think those are practical things. Those are practical things. But I think the soulmate title makes it seem so magical. Because those are just grounded things that you would just want to have.
So it sounds like your soulmate is just a really good relationship. Or a healthy relationship. I just thought I liked the part about though you guys kind of were in the same.
That was very interesting, and the fact that you're ready to meet when you're ready to meet. Because like you said, they say nothing happens before it's time.
See, that's what makes me think it's this kind of mystical type of thing. That's what makes me think that you are destined for me and you are predetermined because God put you in my circle. So it's kind of like when I'm gonna let y'all swirl around each other and maybe
the magnet will get closer and closer. The proximity.
But the fact that, you know, I want this to work is why I'm not going to let you meet until you're ready.
Because somehow the universe knows and God knows that where you guys are is not right.
Not the right time.
So it kind of pulls you when you're supposed to.
Exactly. That's the part that I liked about it. Because like you said, the other stuff is kind of practical. Like this is what you would do in a healthy relationship. But that's
I think the mystical thing comes with when you realize, like you said, those there's no things as coincidence. But when those coincidences comes up, you're like, oh my God, I can't even believe that, you know, or if they know a person that you know, like whatever
it's like synchronicity. It's like, you know, you start putting the pieces together. You're like, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like it's, you know, like you hear these stories, like it's people who are friends. Like for 20 years. And it's like, huh? How did this shit happen? You know? So I like that part about it. I mean, I don't know if I'm ready to recant my
it's exciting.
Post, but that I liked about it.
It's exciting that it happens that way. That's so true.
But that's something to think about. It makes you reading this. If somebody who's out, who's single and who's looking, it'll make you open your eyes.
And also prepare yourself. Like whatever clutter or whatever you kind of, it helps you to know, well, that's there's a possibility of that out there. So let me, you know,
prepare myself.
Prepare myself so I can see it. You know.
And because I think it's true too. You know what? I have another thought. It's probably going to take long. So let me stop here and then we'll go to part 3.